Hello everybody, Prepper003 here today, kind of on a different type of topic rather than firearms or main prepping, is the importance of comms or communication devices in your prepping cache or what your preps are going to want. Because one of the things, especially if you have a prepper group, is you want to be able to stay in contact with that group. Now, say for example you're prepping for a EMP and you don't see a reason for having any type of communication devices because they're not going to work, or you don't have the proper batteries or whatever and what have you. Being able to build a Faraday cage will help prevent against that. But that's a whole other video in its entirety based on EMPs and everything. I'm just kind of getting a broad brush over your communication devices and what's out there, and some cheap options into some different type of options as well. And right now, this right here is pretty much my small, if you want to call it that, communication hub. If anything, it's kind of just a couple of two-way radios and my good old-fashioned CB, which I'm going to have to replace soon because it's starting to have a little bit of issues with picking up signal. And then a little bit of my map here for watching the weather come in, if anything. But you have your very cheap options like your Walmart brand radios, like these Cobra two-way radios right here. They're kind of more things that kids would play with. But they still work. They work kind of out to maybe a mile at most if you're in an open flatland, but it kind of in town you're going to be pretty much kept off at maybe a quarter of a mile, half a mile. Then I have these more along the lines of hunting radios, these Midlands. You get a good mile out of them, maybe a half mile in the thicket of the woods. And then I have a Baofeng GT3TP is the model, and right now that's pretty much the main radio that I use, because all the rest of the people in my survival community use the Baofeng radio, so it's good having interchangeable battery packs as well as getting extended battery packs, having the same antennas, and if something breaks, you can actually, well, if two of them break, you can kind of finagle. If you're kind of more electronically inclined, you can prepare your radio. But then you have kind of your CB for if you want to, just for say example, you have your vehicle has a CB and you have a CB and you're able to, within distance, to communicate back home and tell your family that you're okay. Your car broke down maybe a couple miles out of town and your phone's dead, just because you don't want to always have to rely on your phone as your main source of communication. But phones themselves are very good at communication devices as well, especially for small short-term shit-span scenarios, like some of the type of things where there's small isolated areas of raw or shit-span, where pretty much kind of like we've seen in the past couple of years, where you have these small riots that break out where you don't have quick access to emergency services. You have entire roads blocked off, there's curfews put in place. Having your phone also being able to communicate with the people around you and be able to pretty much, even if it's just your neighbor, being able to text your neighbor that you're okay, or that you see somebody in the backyard. Just having that little bit of communication there just on your phone, which most people have in their pocket at all times, is a very good piece as well, along with tablets. But there, like I said, those things, there's a lot of issues with those, especially in a broad-term shit-span scenario. They're not going to be able to be used because your cell towers will be down. You won't have the proper electricity going to them. That's why, if you do want to run these radios, try to have some type of alternative source of recharging, like a solar unit, or even if it's just a car charger that you can plug into your car to help charge your units, or buy a handful of different types of battery packs. That way you have at least a pretty good, maybe a month or two supply if you're constantly using your radios. But in that type of situation, you want to kind of cut your radio usage to a bare minimum. Now kind of just gonna go on, because I'm trying to keep the video type of short for you guys. If you are going to carry a radio, you want to have some type of gear to carry it, even if it's just a small little radio pouch to put on your belt. Because from working my security job, we mainly use your Motorola heavy-duty radios, and even the clasps that come on those heavy-duty radios break constantly. So what we end up doing is have a radio pouch that we kind of just slip onto our belt and then slide that right in there, rather than rely on this little clasp right here, because honestly, you're having a screw go into plastic or a screw go into metal inside the plastic, and they break a lot, just from personal experience with my security job. Now, pretty much you kind of want to have a quick access pouch on your kit if you're going to carry it that way. that you can easily just quickly slide a radio into, hook up your push to talk, or if you're using this earpiece, hook it up to your earpiece. Slide that in there, and there you go. Now this does help prevent you from getting pushed around, especially if you have it on your side. It keeps it from being up on your main front, which is if you go prone or something like that, especially on your civilian radios. Even if you lock the keys, and I've experienced this a lot on the Midlands, even though I lock them, they quickly become unlocked whenever I'm going prone and doing a lot of stuff like that. And the drills with my team is that they switch off and they'll change your actual channel, or they'll switch over to the emergency weather channel, which I'm still trying to figure out how to disable that on the Midlands. That's pretty much another main reason why I switched over to the Baofeng, because it's much harder to get to that rather than having to deal with this. Plus you have a couple of different types of advantages over the Midland with the Baofeng. But that's just pretty much what I wanted to get to, is just if you are going to prep, just kind of add some type of communication device into your planning, even if it's just a couple of small cheap radios, and have one in your vehicle and one at home. That way there's a little bit of extra amount of communication. Now my family lives very close to me, so I'm working on getting each household its own little set of two-way radios, and having each one of the family members know what channel it's on and everything else. That way if something does happen, we can all kind of give a quick shout out and make sure that everybody's okay. Now there is a type of OPSEC, if you really want to call it that, operational security, with using these type of radios, because with using these type of radios, other people can hear what you're saying. They're not closed circuit or on a closed network. So that's one of the problems with using some of these open type hunting radios, is that say you're on channel 12 and somebody has their other radio set for scan, they can slowly zero in on your location using that and using your radio against you. So that's why you don't want to rely heavily on it, but it is something to have as part of your prepping plan. So that's pretty much what I want to do, is just kind of give you a short overview on why having a radio and having communication devices on your inside of your prepping unit or prepping bag, bug out bag, whatever have you, or your vehicle get home bag. Just kind of one more thing, just as a little kind of safety net, just in case. So, alright, thanks for watching. If you want to check out my other videos, I have a pretty good amount of videos out right now. So feel free if you want to. There's a kind of wide variety so far, mainly more oriented towards firearms and firearms training. But alright, thanks for watching. You have a good day now.